Hey everybody, welcome to the Rewind. My name is Kyle Tyson. Thank you all for joining me. RN is busy recovering from his birthday celebration, so it's just going to be me this week. It's always funny. I finally go ahead and watch NXT so I can brag to him about it, and he can't show up to work. Nah, man. Happy birthday, RN. I hope you had a good one, buddy. Can't wait to hear about what you did last night. You guys, if you're unfamiliar with the show, this is the Rewind. It's not a typical recap show. Instead of running through all the shows beat for beat in chronological order, we like to kind of just point out the highs and the lows of the shows. Anything we were apathetic or kind of in the middle with, we don't bother to cover. So if it involves your favorite wrestler, sorry. We just weren't really into it this week, but that's kind of the show, because otherwise the way we ramble on here, covering 4 shows in a single podcast, it would run like 3 hours, man. So this is the best way for everybody. And before we get started, I do want to say we just hit affiliate on Twitch. Thank you, everybody, for helping us. If you're new to us, please follow us on Twitch. We are also on YouTube. Go ahead and hit like, subscribe, that notification bell. It really helps out the show and pop us up in like the suggested boxes whenever other people are on YouTube. So we really appreciate you guys there. Of course, if you're listening to us on the audio realm, thank you for listening to our podcast. Leave a rating and review. We're really, really grateful. We have Patreon and we got PayPal. I have it on the screen. In case you can't see it, it's patreon.com/SmackDrawPodcast and paypal.me/SmackDrawPod. We appreciate all your help over on Patreon. We got like stickers, t-shirts, some good stuff. I'm actually going into Patreon today or tomorrow. And I'm going to go ahead and update it. It's kind of dated. It's still got the old logo on it. Jesus, man, I get backed up. But I'm going to be on there, and I'm going to go ahead and fix it, get everything up to date. We've slowly, very slowly, but surely enough, we've been coming along, getting everything prepped, and I appreciate everyone's patience with all of this. Anyways, this week in wrestling, overall this week, I'm not going to lie, it was decent, I will say. There was nothing crazy bad that happened, in in story or on the shows. Of course, we're coming off of another mass release of NXT. We're not going to go too deep into that because this is more or less like focusing on the shows, not so much the ongoings behind the scenes, but I feel like it is big enough. I do kind of want to touch on it. I did on the Untitled Friday show. Just huge mass releases in NXT. It felt bittersweet watching the show finally, knowing that the format is very well going to change. I mean, frankly, Roderick Strong was on the latest episode, and he was part of the release. It felt weird watching Roderick Strong wrestle after he lost his job, because I actually just watched NXT right before we went live. Yeah, that felt really bad. And if rumors are to be true, I'm seeing reports saying that they don't want small guys, or people in their 30s. They're kind of trying to go, from what it seems like. Nothing's confirmed on this. No one's come out and straight up said it. But the overall feeling is NXT is going to go back to like the big body guys and not. A lot of people are drawing comparison to what they expect that they want from NXT to be like it was when it started early, and it wasn't what it is now, which is a showcase of the top independent talents being signed to WWE, the top up and comers. I mean, NXT really has been a blend of some of the best wrestlers on the planet, regardless if they're up and coming or established veterans. NXT truly has had the best wrestling program for a very, very long time. And now it seems like they're going to veer away from that. And part of me understands. As much as we love NXT, we haven't really churned out many needle movers. We've had a lot of guys to come up to main roster. A lot of guys have been successful, guys and girls. But for every success story, there's been about 4 to 5 failures, it feels. Whether it be their own fault or the WWE machine, either way. Not really many needle movers. The NXT stars that have come up to main roster ratings are on a huge decline. NXT viewer base seems to be getting smaller and smaller as weeks go on. Once again, not claiming fault of the people performing, I very much am in the camp that believes it's how the company has handled NXT and their talent. But what I am saying is, in its current state, the ratings are at an all-time low. And yeah, I could see why higher ups would just throw their hands up. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, it seems like Triple H might not be in power as well. I'm gonna get more up to date so I can be more concrete on Friday. But yeah, man, it's crazy. But with that being said, okay, I want to jump into this week's worth of wrestling. Let you know what I thought. Once again, just going to give you the bullet points. Should be a fairly brief show, especially because I don't have anybody to bounce my thoughts off of. But yeah, kicking it off with Raw. Raw was okay. There wasn't really anything that stood out to me as overly fantastic or dreadfully bad. Everything kind of meandered in the middle, which will make for a brief rundown. First and foremost, everything with Bobby Lashley and Goldberg is bad, according to me. That's just how I feel. I'm in that camp. I'm not interested in Goldberg. I'm not interested in your GM mode version of booking. I know a lot of people, but Kyle, business sense wise, he's a draw and he makes ratings go up in this. I don't care about that. I really don't. Goldberg is past his prime to me. And it's not the thing that I never want to see the man on television. It's the same argument I had for Brock Lesnar a long time ago, is you don't need to feature these talents around the world title. It doesn't. It's the laws of diminishing returns. The ratings aren't popping as big as they used to be. You might get you're getting a smaller and smaller percentage of your viewers that you're popping these ratings with. It's laws of diminishing returns. That's all it is. Now, if you told me that the Goldberg was in a juicy feud with Matt Riddle, I'm not saying that all of a sudden would move the needle, but it might. Your hardcore fan base that, doesn't watch Raw but pays attention to online, they might churn out in big numbers, knowing on the history these two guys had together, But just putting him in on against the title picture, the same thing you do with Brock time and time again. We know Goldberg's not going to go on some crazy run. He's going to show up. He's either going to lose in one match or he's going to win and then lose very shortly afterwards. It's just crap, man. And then the crowd knew it was crap. This came right off the back of Bray Wyatt being released. So the whole time Goldberg's cutting his dumbass promo, the crowd's going, "We want Wyatt," and I really don't blame him. That was kind of a highlight, was the chant, to be honest with you. But yeah, no, it was absolute crap. Highlight for me was the relationship developing between Mustafa Ali and Mansoor. They took on Mason T-Bar in a losing effort this week. The match was okay. I do love Mansoor's eagerness, his genuine enthusiasm in the ring. He's not jaded like Mustafa Ali has become over time. He's very much bushy-tailed, wide-eyed, very excited to be there. He's marking out over the things that he does. Love watching them have a blast in there. We're looking at like kind of a face turn for Mustafa Ali. At the end of the match, Mansoor was pinned. It looked like Mason T-Bar were about to beat him down. Mustafa Ali was in between everybody. Had a chance to save his own skin. Instead, he pushed his partner out the ring, took the double choke slam himself. Very nice move. Probably one of the things I'm actually more enthusiastic about on the show now. Moving on, this part, Karrion Kross and Keith Lee. So this is, I don't know how to, if I really like this or really don't like it. So, this has just been, Keith Lee has just been a whole bunch of fun lately, hasn't he? Hasn't he for the IWC, you guys? He obviously don't need to tell you much. He made his return, lost in emphatic fashion against Bobby Lashley. Comes out the following week, loses to Karrion Kross. This week, pulls it back. He ends up picking up the victory. Spirit Bomb, very happy for Keith Lee. The only thing with this is the 50-50 booking leaves more to be desired. You didn't have to match these guys up with each other. Kross could have got a victory this week. Keith Lee could have got a victory this week. Yeah, it's but I'm always happy to see Keith Lee win. Watching your NXT champion lose 2 out of 3 matches on Raw is not the funnest thing, especially I know for you big NXT fans. Yeah, but it is what it is. Huge down for me. 24/7 championship. WWE. We don't have to say much about this. WWE has given up on this title. Its whole premise is comedy skits, running around backstage, constantly dodging the mid card and lower card, trying to hang onto your belt. It's relegated to regular matches. We're defending it in the same manner you would defend the Cruiserweight or Light Heavyweight Championship. There's nothing unique about this belt anymore at the time. It's just repeatedly getting defended. Now, granted, I'm actually kind of becoming a fan of Reggie or Reginald. Reggie. Yeah, I'm really liking the guy. But yeah, they're done with this belt. They're done with it. They don't care about this shit no more. I don't know. I don't know what they'll do with it. I mean, they probably... Yeah, the belt's run its course, hasn't it? I've never been a 24/7 hater, by the way. I know a lot of people hate this title and when it appears on television. I have kind of chalked it up to I kind of like comedy stuff. I do. And, it's a good excuse to get lower tier guys on television. But with all the massive layoffs and cuts, I don't know. Obviously you can just see the 24/7 title is not on anybody's radar right now that's coming up with stories. So they're just booking regular matches until they figure out what the hell they want to do. Last huge down, probably the worst down of the evening is the Nikki Ash ASH Charlotte match. This is proving exactly what I thought. Is they don't know how to book baby faces. To quote RN, my great co-host, WWE either books baby faces to be dumbasses or heels. Nikki Ash, unfortunately, she's neither, but they're booking her underdog run as champion. And this is very counterproductive because it conditions the crowd to turn on you. If you are the champ, you are representing the best of the division. The crowd expects you to be the best of the division. The crowd does not want to see a champion lose and only to say, I can get you next time. Well, you know what? In our eyes, you lost the belt. Why do you think so many people jokingly were cheering for Jeff Hardy at the CWC after he beat Kross? Because everybody saw him as the champ. You beat the champion. Now, Nikki won this match. She lost last week. She challenges Charlotte to a rematch. She wins, but only after getting her ass beat the whole time. She doesn't even beat Charlotte. Charlotte beat Charlotte, running through a table, allowing Nikki to pick up the victory. You champion. This is how you book a heel champion. This is how you book a heel champion, not a baby face. They put the belt on her way too fast. I don't know why. Maybe it was because it was the first Raw after Money in the Bank. They really don't like two people holding onto the briefcases. I'm learning, over the years. If somebody could in the comments or maybe on Twitter at me at the Kai Tai Show, remind me the last time we had two consecutive Money in the Bank holders for any period of time consecutively. Both male and female hanging onto those briefcases at the same time. It seems like one always cashes in really quick while another one hangs onto that briefcase for a while. But anyways, yeah, that's just what they do, man. They're booking her completely wrong, and the crowd's already booing her. It sucks, man, because I was a big fan. Another thing I was a big fan of this week, NXT. Like I mentioned earlier, I actually watched NXT this week. I did. It was really decent. I'm not gonna lie. My perspective might ruffle a few feathers. I'm coming into this fairly green. I usually catch the clips of NXT. I haven't actually sat down and watched a full show from start to finish in quite some time. I usually try to keep tabs on it on Twitter and on social media, checking out. One thing I've been checking out kind of loosely on the outside has been the whole Index storyline. That and then Hit Row. But I'll go ahead and I'll cover the stuff that I liked and didn't like. The main event, I liked it. I liked the Index and Indy Hartwell and Dexter Lumis stuff, Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae. I like the whole thing. It's cheesy. It's very cheesy. The premise of the lover or leaver match is kind of problematic nowadays. A woman's fate being determined through a wrestling match. We haven't had that in a while, but it really didn't bother me. It was good, man. It was good. And then I kind of like how they did the outcome. I do like it. I like how that Johnny Gargano won. And then Indy just said, screw it. You know what? My fate can't be determined through a wrestling match. And true love prevailed. And she bum rushed Dexter Lumis. All sorts of cheesy. It was nice. Something that might ruffle a few feathers. Dude, I could give a shit about Karrion Kross and Samoa Joe. Has nothing to do with Joe, though. Like I said, I've been watching Raw lately and not NXT. And when I tune in to Raw, last 3 weeks, Kross has lost 2 out of 3 matches and looked like a real doofus. So when he comes out here and he's cutting this mean promo on Samoa Joe about their upcoming match, dude, it just didn't do it for me. I'm not looking at this man as champ. I'm looking at, Jeff Hardy. No. I don't know, man. It just, like coming in from the outside, what would you expect anyone else to think? That hasn't watched NXT for a while. My experience with Kross, outside of watching clips of his badass entrance, which obviously they stripped away on Raw. You come in and it's flat, man. NXT's champion's flat, dude. Like that's probably the roughest part of the show for me. Is it just seems like an unworthy champ at this point. Y'all can come at me in the comments, man, but that's how I feel. That's exactly how I feel. So something I'm on, not on the fence, but I'm excited, looking forward to, is I liked everything with Hit Row and Legado del Fantasma. I really like the look and feel of all 6 competitors here. More so Hit Row's whole faction, and then Santos Escobar. Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza, I'll have to see more of. They were kind of the guys that faded to the back in all of this for me. But Isaiah Swerve Scott, Ashante, the Adonis, and Top Dollar, all of those guys, along with Santos Escobar, look fantastic, man. I had a blast watching them. Nothing in particular stood out too much to me other than I felt like I was looking at some big future stars in the business. So yeah, I was really excited. That was a high just because of the talent alone, nothing crazy. And then kind of the same thing goes with Cameron Grimes and LA Knight. I'm not gonna lie. Coming into this show, fresh, like really fresh to NXT. I haven't watched it in a while. LA Knight seems like the biggest star on the show. It might just be me. I don't know how many people share this opinion with me. I know I love Samoa Joe. I know he's huge. It just, something's really off about Joe. Third champ, been in NXT for a long time. I don't know. Like, something is not fully clicking. I'm happy to see Joe. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. I'm extremely excited to watch Joe and do some work. But I don't know. LA Knight, man, seems to be where it's at for me. Him and Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes looking uber babyface, maybe the biggest babyface on the whole show right now. They took on, who do they take on here? Oh, the young grizzled vets. Oh man, those guys are awesome. Obviously, with a heel face, master servant dynamic that Knight and Grimes have going on. Knight backed out of the match midway through, left Grimes to defend for himself, which he almost wins, which was fantastic. The right thing happened, though. You should have an established tag team always defeat a single star. I stand by that wholeheartedly, because otherwise it makes your tag teams look like absolute piss if a team can't take on a single person. But no, great stuff. And then Ted DiBiase coming out to pick up Grimes in the end was super nice touch. Felt great, man. So overall, no huge complaints about NXT this week. It was a fairly decent show to me. Might I say, actually, maybe a little bit better than AEW was this week. Maybe. Jury's still out on that one. I will say huge down, though, for NXT is the CWC. I am not a fan of the Capitol Wrestling Center. I don't know if I'm over the whole wrestling in a warehouse look. I really feel like the pandemic, God, killed that for me. Like, I don't want anything to remind me of the pandemic. And I think that the CWC just very much still looks like pandemic wrestling. It's really my biggest criticism about Impact right now. From what I gather, Impact's crushing it with their talent. Apparently, Impact's on the run of a century here. I can't get into it because I can't get past the aesthetic. I get bummed out. I get bummed out looking at stuff that just reminds me of pandemic wrestling. It wasn't the funnest thing to watch. Let's all be honest, Yeah, and anyone's like, but Kyle, we got to be safe. Not everybody can go on the road. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying risk your talent or go book venues that you probably can't sell that many tickets to right now. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is, me personally, watching warehouse wrestling with very little to no crowd is just not really a big fan. I wish NXT could go back to Full Sail. I really do. I loved Full Sail crowd. That's kind of the one exception to this. Full Sail's fantastic. But I don't know, man. CWC just ain't doing it for me. Over on AEW, man. AEW was good. I will say one thing. As a whole, AEW, this wasn't one of their best episodes. They set the bar really high every week, I think. At least with me, they do. They had some good stuff in here, but most of it was kind of in the middle, and some of the stuff that was really good didn't really stick the landing all that best, and I'll explain. So the first thing was the Juventud Guerrero versus Chris Jericho, his third labor. It started sloppy, but man, these guys picked it up. It was fantastic. Felt like going back in time. It was great. Jericho picked up a win with like a super Judas effect, like jumping off the top rope. It was really, really good. Where it landed flat was everything that came after it. MJF letting Chris Jericho know his next labor, and when you have things as unique as a chair match, but you can't use a chair, obviously taking on Nick Gage in that death match, and then Juventud Guerrero, you keep the out of the ordinary. You keep it out of the ordinary, things coming from left field. And I don't know if they had something lined up and it didn't go through, but the announcement of the fourth labor just being a straight up match with Wardlow with MJF at ringside fell really flat. And yeah, I don't know. It just was like, it doesn't fit. You know, if you were to line up these 4 matches and say which one doesn't belong, that's the one. Now, granted, had this been, say, the opening of the Labors, that would have been fine, because you could argue that the matches have gradually gotten more bizarre and more uncommon. But having your 4th stop to meet up with MJF, it felt, like I said, it just felt flat, man. And it's the first Labor I'm not really that excited for. Everything with Hangman Page, though, in the Elite, fantastic. So, saw a lot of people complaining after that tag match in Charlotte, Fight for the Fallen, that, you know, we're let down that the match is no longer between Hangman Page and Kenny Omega. But if you didn't notice, on 3 separate occasions, the story with Kenny Omega and everything is still built around Hangman Page. From him having to tell the Dark Order they need to break up for a while or just go their separate ways, to him Hangman confronting the Elite by himself, getting beat down while the Dark Order is forced to watch. They're equally as conflicted. You know, they want to help, but they're also trying to honor their friends' wishes. The whole story is fantastic. It's deep. It is one of the best wrestling stories in all of professional wrestling that I am watching currently, and I love it, man. I absolutely love every bit of it. So it was a great touch. Other than that, in the mid-card scene, the only thing that really stood out to me, Layla Hirsch taking on Bunny. Fun match of women talent that we have, and then setting up an NWA women's title match between Layla Hirsch and Camille. Very much David and Goliath here. Layla Hirsch is very, very short. She's really not tall at all. And then Camille is quite tall. So looking at them side by side, it should be a unique match, and I very much look forward to watching it. And then lastly, once again, something that was great, couldn't stick the landing, was Cody versus Malachi Black. Where everyone's complaining that this didn't get over Black. I'm sorry. Everything about this was designed to get Black over. That is how it was designed. You know, the match was a very big squash match on Cody. Cody lost like 4 or 5 minutes flat. He went through a table from the top rope. You know, Malachi took him out with one black mass, even pinned him with his boot. Didn't even bother to get down and hook the leg. This was all designed for Black. Where they didn't stick the landing is like what I always criticize AEW for is they tend to overthink their big moments. They tend to just overthink it. You know, one thing I learned in the cooking industry, I'll tie it together, is less is more. You know, Malachi could have won on the squash match, and that could have been it. Boom. Prolonged beatdown. Because what followed was Cody Rhodes teasing retirement, this half loopy guy that just waking up from getting knocked out, is teasing that he's retiring, is taking his boots off in the ring. The promo took just as long as the damn match. And Malachi Black returns, smashes him with a crush. Looked painful as shit. But all of a sudden now Cody's unconscious again, by the way. Which I don't like that. I do not like non-concussive weapons causing wrestlers to apparently lose consciousness. And what I mean is like eating like a kendo stick or a crutch to the back, it renders you lifeless. You can't move. The way you should be selling that is you should be writhing in pain. You should be writhing in pain, maybe scared. You don't want to eat it again. You want to get the fuck out of there. But eating one crutch shot to the lower mid back should not render a guy unconscious. I'm sorry. But yeah, like just the ending fell so goddamn flat. To otherwise a great message that Malachi Black just destroyed Cody. And I am hoping, man, I am so hoping that the rumors are true. Buddy Murphy is going to AEW, and we're going to continue the feud between Buddy Murphy and Black, where they can take the handcuffs off, take off those restraints, and let those guys just have 5-star match after 5-star match. I cannot wait. I really hope that's where they're going with all of this. And then whenever Cody gets back from filming his stupid fucking Go Big show, They can do whatever. But in the last dud of the show, Christian being named the number one contender against Omega for all out. I don't know. That's weird to me. I almost don't even buy it as the official match. And then lastly, I'm gonna make this part quick. SmackDown sucked. Just SmackDown was a fucking terrible show. I'm sorry, folks. It was god awful. For one, the highlight for most people was Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair being announced for SummerSlam. Who gives a shit? They just had their epic match at WrestleMania. Why are we running it back? Sasha Banks hasn't done anything to warrant this match and feud to keep going. Bianca Belair is just giving her the match. Yeah, this is incredibly silly. I don't understand it. Everything else was recaps in the middle. I'm sorry. SmackDown was terrible. That was it, man. That's my SmackDown rundown, honestly. I can't even word it any better. But thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for watching the show. Thank you for putting up with all of this. And just make sure to like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And until next time, y'all have a good one.